Hey, welcome. So first, before I get into this, I just have a message, a something I noticed, and I just want to call it out. Regarding Nithyananda's ex-devotees. So I have a message for the ex-devotees, like me. Leave Nithi's devotees alone. Leave the Ashramites alone. Leave the people who still follow him alone. We don't control what another human being does here, especially a grown adult. Now, if you have a child at the ashram and that's underage, cool. But if you have a friend or what have you there, as you see, they're blocking people like us. They are not here to listen. So here I am telling you guys that you can't control what other people do, and here I am telling you what to do. I'm actually not telling you what to do. I'm kind of just calling out some behavior that I feel is kind of a waste of energy. It's like, I'll give you an example. Guru Swamiji, who has been outing Nithyananda for like 10 years now, she wasn't in my DM, messaging me. She wasn't in Swamiji's devotees' DMs, like, leave Nithyananda alone. Like, she wasn't doing any of that. She was on her channel making her videos, and people found them. I know I ended up finding the videos, but at one point, I would see her videos in my feed and I just wouldn't click on it. Why? Because I was following Swamiji, that was my guru, and he said that people like her were demons or whatever. And so I never felt the inclination to go listen to anybody's videos. That was, I mentally couldn't even click on the videos. It was too upsetting. So my whole point is like, we are all doing the right thing. We're making our videos, telling our stories, and we have the right to do that. You know what I mean? We have the right. We have our platforms. Tell your story, If someone asks you that's following him about him, say, well, this is what happened to me. I can't tell you what to do for your life, but use the information accordingly. So, I used to be there too. You know what I mean? I used to have the savior complex. Oh, somebody's calling me. Having a savior complex, sorry about that, is kind of like this residual thing that I noticed that a lot of cults even run under. It's like there's this savior complex. It's kind of like how they get you hooked, and you feel like, oh, I'm doing something for the world. I'm doing something for humanity. I'm saving, my family. I'm saving myself. Like you feel like you're doing a good thing. You feel like you found gold and like you just want to share. Like, I understand, we all, it's like our compassion is being abused in a sense. So, but leave the devotees alone. They will find your videos when they're ready, because I want to get really serious really quickly. There is a danger to forcing someone's eyes open to a truth that they may not have been ready to hear. A real danger. Okay, I remember when, this was over 15 years ago, I remember when I was devoted to Christianity, and the day that my eyes was open to, the deception or whatever, it was, and still to this day, one of the most emotionally painful things I have ever undergone. I felt cheated. I felt like my trust was abused. I felt I just can't even describe. I was depressed. There was so much depression and deep sadness. And so you have to be careful. Like it can lead you to purposelessness, a feeling of that. You know, we have to keep in mind that some people have built their lives around this, have left jobs, careers, families, lost friends. Like, this is not some small thing. You're sitting here badgering the devotees, but are you going to be there for that person literally when they're on the ledge suicidal? I hope not, but it goes there for a lot of people who leave cults. I've done my research, okay? So I'm not just saying this to be dramatic. This is real life here. You have people going back home to nothing. Are you ready to help them deal with that? For real. Like, for real. You know what I'm saying? Are you able to help them find a place to live? Are you able to help them, like, with real shit, groceries, paying their phone bill? Like, are you really ready to this is why, you know, I don't want this whole video to be about this, but I just needed to say this first. Like, leave them alone. You know, make your videos and just be there as a support, because this is serious. I may have to pause this and come back. Another thing I want to address before I get into my story is, I'm seeing this float around so much. It's like, how do people fall for a cult? How do people fall for this? I knew it was a trick before. Like, I knew, how did you, oh my God, like, how did you fall for this? I want every person to look at their life in its totality. You have been seduced and you have fallen for something too in your life, okay? Whether it be promises from religion, from pastors, promises from culture, being made to trust religion, being made to trust science, doctors, okay? All these things are traps for our consciousness, okay? So they rob you of being connected to your instincts, okay? I'm about to have to go. They rob you from your instincts. This is how people fall for stuff like this. It's not really, you know, it's not really hard. I'm going to link a video. Please stay to the end. I'll have some information in my description box on how people fall, particularly for cults. That's a whole separate video. But all of us have fallen for things. Okay, look at your life. I can pick, show me a person. Please, leave in the comments if you've never been tricked, ever. If you don't live within this society and you've made it your whole life without believing any of the aforementioned things, culture, religion, politics, doctors, culture, all of it is a story, okay, that you chose to believe for whatever reason, period. We are taught to trust, not to trust our instincts, actually, our whole life, okay? Trust people. Don't trust your instincts. And so this is why when someone had the audacity to tell me, like, oh, well, you know, that same intuition that you're talking about is the same thing that made you join his cult or whatever. And I'm just like, no, honey. See, we were all ignoring our instincts and red flags the whole way. We chose to ignore that. We know the difference between intuition and our ego mind, okay? I chose to ignore my instincts several times, okay? Several times. So now the lesson learned is, don't ignore your instincts, because now I can recognize what my instincts is and what my intuition is telling me, and not just listening and accepting the story that someone else is giving me. Okay, so being dependable and reliable to yourself, not just relying on others. That's what a cult does. It allows for you to rely on someone else for your happiness and safety and flourishing in the world and joy, and you get to project all your pain and everything onto this person. It's so seductive. It's a drug. It literally puts you in an altered state. This is why cults are so... They literally prey on our need for that connection and safety. And if you come across these kinds of cults at a time where you're really lonely, or just leaving a breakup or a relationship, or losing a job, or anything dramatic or tragic, like for me, I was leaving a relationship that was just highly, highly dramatic and tragic, to a degree that it took me about 3 or 4 years to recover from. Okay. I was going through that, and my mother actually, the year I joined, my mom had caught cancer, and I was her primary caretaker. So if you can imagine the pressure and stress and sadness and just seriousness of that kind of a situation, on top of leaving a relationship and feeling lonely and feeling like, you know, I had nothing for myself. I wasn't socializing. I didn't have, you know, like a whole group of friends. You know what I mean? Like, even the 2 friends that I did have, like, I would feel so lonely. You know what I mean? Like, and I just had this hole. I just always had this feeling of like, you know, maybe I need to be a monk or something, right? I had this really deep need at the time to kind of like go on a spiritual retreat. This was all like before I ran into Nithyananda. It was like I had the deepest yearning to just like go on a silent retreat or a spiritual retreat. Like, I needed to get away. I needed to get out of my environment. I wanted to focus on me and what I wanted and what was important for me to thrive and be happy, and to piece the pieces of my life back together and just like move forward. You know, I mean, we all have goals and dreams, and we're all just trying to do our best to achieve those things. And I wanted my mom to get better. I really believed that, you know, following these teachings and going to the ashram would help me heal her. You know, I had a friend mention she thought I wanted to leave because I wanted to get away from my responsibilities, but that was the farthest from the truth. It's like, why would I want to leave my mom during such a stressful time, you know? I've been really... Excuse for the pause. I've been really emotional thinking about my mom a lot lately. But I really thought, like, I truly believed that I could heal her with the help of these teachings. And she was literally crying to me, like I mentioned in my last video, not to go to this ashram. And it's like, when I think about the stress, the additional stress I was putting on my mom during this time, it's like it was so unnecessary. You know what I mean? It was so unnecessary bothering her with going to India while she has to like fight for her life. And it was just like, I'm so glad, you know what I mean, that things at least ended on a positive note, you know, when she did pass and all of that. But yeah, it's just like, we believe these things because a lot of the times it's like, you feel like, let me just give people the benefit of the doubt, right? And Hinduism, oh have to go. Hinduism is actually a religion that I didn't know much about, actually. And I'm back. So, like I was saying, I found Hinduism to be very, very interesting. And just like with all the other religions I explored, I just felt drawn, like, wow, this is so delicious. I liked the culture. And so keep in mind, if you're someone who knows nothing about something, the first thing presented to you of the thing, how you have no other point of reference. I had no other point of reference of being like, oh, okay, this is authentic Hinduism, or this is inauthentic, or what Nithyananda is doing. I had nobody to compare him to, essentially. So when people just, like I said, asking this, how do you fall for this? It's a laundry list of logical explanations as to how people get swept up into a cult, okay? So it's ignorance. It's, you know, it is being caught at a weak point, you know? And as soon as I found, I think her name is Yoga Manta's video, the third eye reading video, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even finish watching the video. I clicked out the video. I went straight to Swamiji's YouTube channel, straight to his website. And I was like, who is teaching these kids how to do this? And the reason why it's so believable is, again, you know, when you've already had experiences with yourself, it's like, well, if I'm already having these types of experiences, well, then what would happen if I go to this ashram? What would happen if I go to this ashram and let this teacher, you know, show me some things? And so that was my frame of mind. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, let me go see what this guru is talking about. So, basically that's when my journey started, and I kept going to the events, and, this was like 2 years ago. So I remember, I'm going to discuss the emotional aspects. Okay. Keep in mind all the traumatic things I was going through. I had a sense of community. You know, I had a sense of I had a sense of family during a time that was very difficult. It's like you get this instantaneous group of friends, you know, and that's very seductive. It's a group of people that you feel are on the same path as you. There's nothing more seductive than that. That's all we all want, you know? We have this innate feeling of tribalism. It's literally in our DNA. Okay, so all of these factors are being preyed upon, okay? And it makes it's very easy to slip into an altered state being in that type of group dynamic. It's so easy. And so I got to the point where I wanted to go to the ashram, to his Adinavasi program. I felt like, again, this is going to help me. It's going to save my mom. It's going to better my life. I was very, very, very serious about changing my life at this point by any means. And I still had this feeling, like I said, even before I met Swamiji, that like I had this calling as a monk. I'm being very serious. I had this feeling of like I wanted to be a monk, and I could never understand what that feeling or calling was. And I was like, oh, well, maybe this is it, you know? And so I just feel like people's personal aspirations and desires are just being preyed upon in a very, very diabolical way. But essentially what broke that delusion for me, even, you know, after being questioned doggedly, you know, because I mentioned in my last video that like there were things that I was able to do. And I actually had a video up on my channel. It's no longer up anymore because doesn't mean anything. I remember being able to crack the coconut, and it wasn't because I was told to do it. It happened twice, but I'm skeptical of the first time because I got it from them. The second time I bought my own. And what I began to realize about these, you know, telekinesis, mind reading, all these things that I have always been able to do is not important. It doesn't make me more spiritual than anybody. It's not helping my life unless I planned on going around like a fucking magic trick circus show, sideshow, whatever, charging people or setting up places and doing healings and charging and having lines of people waiting and I can heal you and oh, my third eye. Like if I'm not doing all that, I don't need, how is this helping me elevate myself? I literally thought that to myself countless times. While these power demos were going on, it's like in the back of it's like this voice kept saying, but like, why is this important? How is this not helping the world? Fuck that. Like, you're being selfish. Like, how is this helping me? Like, okay, maybe I can help the world later, but I need to help me now. Like, how is this helping me? I can never get an answer. But you listen to Swamiji tell you repeatedly why it's helpful. And you just accept it. Okay, the period. You accept it. So it's like you are in a constant state of disallowing your own intuition, being reliable and dependable to yourself. You ignore all of this. Okay. Rational common sense, you ignore it. None of these things make you better than anybody. Okay. It just does not. And it's not something that's even valuable. Or is it a real experience? Yes. This is why you believe him. This is why you believe him, because you're having a real experience. Okay. So this is why it's dicey. This is why you can't shake nobody out of their own experience. But keep in mind, just because something is like real and it happened to you, it doesn't make it the truth of the actual reality. Okay, those are two different things, and I might need a second video to describe what I mean by that. It's like, the breaking point for me, because I don't want to go all over the place with this, okay, was like, I remember I was at an event one time. I think it was a yoga event in New York City. And I went to 2 events. And I remember a guy standing up being really irate, like, she's cheating, she's peeking under the under the thing, right? He was so mad. And like, I just remember being like, okay, I see how, you know, because I remember being there and already being a little skeptical, and I wanted to test out the mask, but they didn't pick me though. They always only pick children I was seeing, like, to do these testing out the equipment and shit. And I was just like, they threw him out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay. And so I ended up seeing the video that they claimed was morphed. And I just stumbled upon it one day, and something told me just to look at it. Because like I said, I was already in my skeptical mode. And so I played it, and I just, like, at that moment, I felt emotional pain. Like my heart broke. Like I had a broken heart. Because logic is going to tell you that video is real. Like, anybody can look at the video. Like, it's not your common sense. I know, like, this video is not fake. It's just not. Period. So, you know, I'm just like, okay, that was the end for me. And I was just like, okay, I didn't feel a need to like make a coming out video. Like I said, it's been like 2 years at this point. And the only reason why I'm even making this video is literally because there is this aspect of me that's like gnawing that is not going to leave me alone. It's not going to leave me alone. I wanted to leave this alone. Trust me. There is some aspect of me that's like, just speak on it. Speak on your experience. And whoever is supposed to find this video will find it. I'm not harassing nobody. I'm not going around in people's DMs like, Leah Swamiji, look at this. I already explained that at the beginning. I'm not doing none of that. This video gonna reach who's gonna reach. And I may do another video on the aspects of just spiritual sovereignty and what I found truth to be, and how enlightenment, period, is a hoax. I'm not mad at Nithyananda. I'm actually very, very, very grateful to the experience, because going through this experience is what taught me and brought me full circle back to myself. I started this journey like almost 20 years ago. Seeking, right? And I finally realized there's nothing to know here. All of this is a circus. Like, I've been calling this spirituality. I have a video that I'm going to link below called Fuck the Conscious Community or something like that. This was 2 years ago. I realized that this whole shit is a hoax, is a game. It's not wrong. You can practice and do, but like I said, I'm not emotionally policing anything is right or wrong. I just realized now it's a circus. It's like when you go into a circus or a theme park, you get on rides, you have the experience, you get off and you go home. I'm home now. Like, I'm happy to see everybody out having fun at the theme park and the circus. Live, do you, but I'm more now in an emotional sovereign space. It's just spiritually, and I don't need all of. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to do or work for. Spirituality is living. Enlightenment is the absence of knowing. And I fully have experienced the feeling that I don't know anything. There's nothing to know. So it's like you can't revert. There's no more seeking for me. Okay. And maybe this is what my channel is going to be about. The journey of non-seeking and how enlightenment is a hoax and why it's a hoax. It's a joke when you think about pursuing enlightenment. It's not something you can pursue. It's this illusory thing, just like everything else in the spirituality community. Anyway, I'm about to go off on a whole another tangent. If you have any questions, I will elaborate further in the comments if you do. But yeah, Nithyananda, he's not what he's claiming he is, but I feel like he has a role here in a lot of people's spiritual process. I'm not saying you have to accept this or like what I'm saying or that I'm right and other people are wrong, but this experience was pivotal in my journey. And I couldn't be happier that I went through this. Where I am spiritually and emotionally is priceless. Okay. But it doesn't mean that he's going to be like winning some like award for like doing us a favor or some of us a favor. He did me a favor. And it also doesn't mean that his ass ain't going to jail. Okay. But for me personally, my journey, what I went through with him, all of it was a rich experience. And I'm grateful. So I hope whoever sees this can process this information and just think twice. I'm going to link a few videos in my description box and in my comments. Please check them out because they link to other videos regarding this topic, also on how to break mind control if you were in a cult, whether it was Nithyananda's or whatever, Nature Boy, who, any of these gurus, all of them, okay, all of them are teaching you to come back to you. All of them are teaching you how to be dependable to you. All of them are teaching you that fucking enlightenment is illusory. There's nothing to know. How to break free of all that mind control. I have a video on that already. I also have a video called Nithyananda devotees leave the ex-devotees alone. Just like I'm telling the ex-devotees to leave his devotees alone. So it's just like everybody's journey needs to unfold, you know, the way it's supposed to. And that's it. Period. There will be more videos regarding how I feel about or just where I am, because the poll that I took last week on where I should go, and also talking to my friend Woods of Wisdom, he's helping me realize that there is something to say. Even though I don't want my channel to be a spirituality channel, it's not. It's going to be like a anti-spirituality, anti the circus. So if you want to hear about things of that nature, of knowing nothing, please subscribe and stick around. Thanks for listening. Please leave your thoughts in my description box. Bye!